In this video, we're going to show you how to sell $750,000 on Amazon in 1 year. I brought my friend Steve on the channel who built an eBay to Amazon business. That means he's purchasing items from eBay to resell on Amazon. This is a great business model with really high profit margin. He was able to make over $180,000 net profit. And in this video, you'll learn step by step how he did it. Much love and enjoy.
Hey man, thank you so much, for having me on the channel. And I'm excited to share my journey because, just like you, I started with books. I started going to thrift stores and selling stuff from garage sales, flea markets. And over the last 3 years, I've been selling on Amazon for over a decade, but the last 3 years, my business has changed tremendously and it's grown a lot. And you've actually been able to watch the whole journey. So it's kind of cool for you to be able to dive in and, interview me here on your channel.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know Steve, he's got his own channel over at Rake and Profit. He's almost at 200,000 subscribers pretty soon, probably the next month or two.
Yes, sir.
And when I first came across your channel, you did like some YouTube live in your driveway and the connection was bad. I'm like, is this guy like, he's like a real human being? And then fast forward a few months later, I actually ended up meeting you in person. And, there's a disconnect with YouTube. And when you meet people in person, like you're not really sure if they're making money or not. I met Steve back then. He was just thrifting, doing, things like that, like selling books, selling CDs, DVDs, like electronics, going into thrift stores and then listing them on Amazon. And obviously, he made money from his YouTube channel, whatever. But I watched him build this business he's about to talk about from scratch. And to this day, like I'll go visit him and we'll work out, we'll go in the sauna, whatever at his house. And you truly only put in a few hours a week. Like that's not bullshit. And so I'm excited for you to break down how you actually found out a system to find this profitable inventory all online with never leaving home. And then next, how did you systematize it to the point where you feel confident having other people find inventory for you and stepping back from it?
Yeah, man. I remember when I first started dabbling with eBay to Amazon, it was actually when we were living together. So Avery and we were living together over at that, I guess you could call it a penthouse. We were close to the top.
All the gurus are there now. We were the start of that, man.
Yeah, 47th floor over there in Brickell. And I think you remember, I built like a free little class talking about how to source from eBay and flip on Amazon because it was during COVID and whatnot. And people like weren't able to go to thrift stores as much. And, over the years, I had flipped items from eBay to Amazon. But what I would do is I would manually just go to eBay. So like, say, for example, I sold maybe a book for like $65 on Amazon. I probably paid $1 or $2 at Goodwill. Well, I would go onto eBay and I would just manually type in like the title or the ISBN number. And I would find those books. Now, I wouldn't pay $1 or $2. That book that sold for 65, I'd have to pay, 10 or 12 or sometimes $17. But that's how I started. I would literally just manually go one by one looking for deals. And that was back in 2019, 2020 is when I first kind of got into that. And what I would actually do is this was my next level up. It's funny how business works. So I would manually search. And then what I decided to do, I had the genius idea of opening up my Amazon Seller Central. So just so you guys can see, the last year I've done, what is that? 758,000. What I would do is I would hit the little camera button in the corner, just like this, right? And I would scan the items on eBay. Like I would go to DVDs or books newly listed, and I would scan the covers like a crazy person. And I would find deals that way. And that's how I started. And, it's gone leaps and bounds past then. We could talk about all the different softwares and systems and processes, but that's how I first started and dabbled with it. And we could definitely get into more of the details for sure.
Yeah. And you have really healthy analytics too. Like on your go-to lister account, at least last time I checked, it was a while ago, you were selling 50% of your inventory every 30 days. You know how many units you've sold over the last 30?
So the last 30 days, so I'll open up my sales right now. So in the last 30 days, I'm at 73,730 and my units sold is 689. So do the math on that. It's over $100 per item, but it didn't start like that, man. Like when I started back in 2020, my average selling price from eBay to Amazon was maybe 25 and then 30. And then it's just kind of gone up from there.
Yeah. That's a whole nother topic we could talk about. Like the cool thing you're doing is like when you go in a thrift store, you don't really have control over like I guess you have control over which items you purchase, but you can't like decide, oh, I only want to purchase $100 books. And if you do, you're probably not going to leave with much. Whereas with your business model, what you've done is that you've said, I only want to purchase $100 profit items and more. And since there's so many items online, you can do that. Whereas in a thrift store, you're kind of left with what you're left with. So that's another topic we can talk about in just a second. But my point was, you've sold 600 items over the last 30 days. How many items do you have in stock? Like 2,000?
So believe it or not, I just put a post in my group about this. Guess how many items do you think I have in my inventory to sell 73,000? If you had to guess, I'll open up my inventory right now.
1,500 is my guess.
Nope. I'll hide this right now. I don't know if you can see that or not. 305 offers in my inventory. So the only reason it's so high right now is because I've been running some sales. Like I actually went through the last month and I've been kind of cleaning house a little bit, but over the last
what do you
6
mean?
months,
So you only have 305 items?
I only have 305 ASINs in my inventory. And I would say probably 90% of those are just one unit. Wow. Maybe 10% of those maybe have 2, 3, 4, or 5. But just so people know, I started with books and DVDs. I still sell them. But now what I really specialize in is tools, office supplies, and electronics. So a lot of my products, they sell really, really quick. I mean, I would say probably over 50% of my items are gone within a week or less because I'm going after, and there's a lot of nuances to my business. People are going to watch this and think like, oh, it's so easy. Like it is easy, but there's a lot of nuances. Like I'm very specific about what I go after. I'm very specific about the products, the sell-through rate. And the thing is, people always ask, well, Steve, you don't have invoices. Like, how do you do this without invoices? Which is a great question. I'm going after items, even though my items sell super fast, they're not very popular. Let that click for a second. How is an item, Steve, selling fast but not very popular? Well, the truth is most of my items are vintage or discontinued or a little bit older. I would say probably 80% of my inventory, like if you look at the monthly sales, is probably only selling 5 to 20 times per month. But these items are out of stock. There's maybe only 1 or 2 sellers on the listing. So most of my items are high end, a little bit slower selling in a sense, but there's not a lot of competition. And if there's 5 to 20 sales per month on it and only a couple of sellers at every single time, they move very, very quickly. So we could talk more about that, but I fly under the radar. I'm not going after super popular items. I'm not going after items that you're going to see in the store or at Best Buy or, I would say probably 95% of these items, they're not going to be at Lowe's or Home Depot or on the store shelf. Like they're things that people want, but they're hard to come across. And these products aren't very popular. So the brands they leave you alone. They're not like coming after you.
Yeah. So basically, the cool thing about having a high turn rate and like selling your inventory fast is you can pour money, you can dump money into inventory and have it come back to you quickly. And one of the things I'm realizing, I guess I've been selling on Amazon for 10 plus years, if you include when I sold my first textbook. But a big thing that I've realized is like when you're running an Amazon business, it's all about putting money in. Let's say you put 100,000 in. How fast are you gonna get that 100,000 back? Is it going to take 6 months? If so, that kind of sucks. But if it takes 6 months to come back as 300,000, maybe it's worth it. But if it takes 6 months to only come back as 110,000, like what are you really doing? And so you have eBay to Amazon business models. You have wholesale. You have online arbitrage. You have sourcing books from thrift stores. There's all these different models where you're taking your money, you're putting it in inventory temporarily, and then when that sells, magically that money comes back to you in your bank account, hopefully is more. And so having a healthy sell-through rate really builds confidence and gives you that ability just to dump money in the business. And you've been doing that. Let's talk a little bit about how much money you're putting in and also take a step back. Like what's a realistic amount that somebody can expect to start, investing in their business? If let's just say they're doing like 3,000 to 5,000 in book sales and they want to start playing around with eBay to Amazon, what would you recommend they start out with?
Yeah, I'd recommend starting with just a couple $100s. So let's just say, for example, you're doing 3,000 to 5,000 a month. Maybe you're spending $500, $600 a month, thrifting and whatnot. I would just start spending maybe $100 a month or so on eBay to Amazon, and then slowly but surely build that up because it's a completely different game. You can make a lot of bad decisions thrifting and still make money because you're only spending $1 or $2 or $3 on an item. So you don't even need the majority of your items to sell. But when you're doing eBay to Amazon, in my business, typically we're going after items with about a 50% ROI right now. A lot of our items we're spending, $30, $40, $50, $60 on. So you could run into some cash flow issues very quickly. So here's the deal. When you transition from thrifting or you add eBay to Amazon, you have to become really, really good at analyzing deals. And when you analyze a deal, not only do you want to look at how much profit you're going to make and the return on investment, but you also want to take a look at, realistically, how long is this item going to take to sell? Where's the offer count? Is the offer count going up or is it going down? Realistically, let's just say the price tanks 10 or 20%. Are you still going to be safe? You really have to be good at reading charts. A big mistake that a lot of people make when they move into eBay to Amazon is they're only looking at the buy box price. And that could get you into really, really big trouble, especially if you're selling books. A lot of times a book, may be overly inflated and you might pay 30 and you're like, I'm going to sell this for $70. But does this book actually have a history of selling for $70? So you can go into Keepa, and we'll probably do this in some upcoming videos, but you can take a look on the Keepa chart and take a look and see, what has this been selling for previously? Is this normally really only selling for $30 or $40 by looking at the lowest offer, looking at the buy box, comparing the new versus used, going into the data within Keepa and the buy box statistics and how often it rotates. So there's a lot of nuance to it. So to get back to your original question, I would start with a limited budget and I would make your mistakes on a budget. Yes, you are going to make mistakes. Just like you made mistakes when you started thrifting, you're going to make mistakes when you do eBay to Amazon or Amazon to Amazon. The only difference is the mistakes are going to hurt a lot more when you spend $20 or $30 on a book versus spending $1 or $2. So I would start really, really slow, and I'd become a master at analyzing deals and really diving deep into Keepa. Take it very, very slow. Once you learn how to manage $100, then go to $200, then $500, and then $1,000. Right now, we're spending about $25,000 to $30,000 per month. Last year, I had $125,000 a month. We spent about close to $50,000. So, I've built this slowly but surely over the years. This isn't something that I'm going to come on here and say, Avery, your audience should just go in and pour all their money in, because they're going to lose all their money. You've got to take it very
data. Like you're purchasing data, essentially. You're purchasing like what the Keepa graph says it's going to sell for / what it sold for in the past, and you've built a team that has you have confidence in your team because you've given them these rules. Like, hey, we don't buy inventory unless it meets X, Y, Z. And I'm sure you had those rules for yourself at first, and then you probably gave them to your team. Your team probably screwed them up. They didn't purchase, what you wanted to. You refined them, but you figured it out, man. And
yeah,
congrats. So
100%, man. So essentially, the way my business works now, for folks who are wondering, I have 2 virtual assistants who source full time. They're in the Philippines, and they source 5 days per week. I've got one VA who he works part-time. He's actually the husband to one of my sourcers, and he reprices. That's all he does, is he just does all the repricing for me. And then I have a girl on my team who actually used to work for you back in the day. You know who I'm talking about. She deals
I met her in person. I went over to the Philippines.
Yeah. So she deals with all my high pricing errors, stranded inventory. If there's ever any lost shipments or any issues with my account, she handles all that. So my team, they source. We have a budget. The budget changes based upon, my goals and whatnot. Right now, we've actually increased my spend. We're actually going to be working our way up to about 40 to 50,000 a month again. But they source all the items, and then we have a spreadsheet that so it's called the E2A Master Sheet. I think you've heard of that before. It's a software that I've built, and every time we buy an item, it automatically pulls all the data over to our master sheet. So after they buy all the buy the items, they fill out the entire sheet, and then it goes to the prep center. So they work with the prep center to put all that information in. And then when it gets to the prep center, they ship it out to the Amazon warehouses. And when the item sells, they pick it, pack it, and ship it. So the cool thing about my business now, and again, I want to put a disclaimer, this has been 3+ years in the works. I'm really only spending a couple hours per week in my business now, because my team, they source 99% of the items. It goes to the prep center over there at Little Owl Prep. They prep it, they ship it out to Amazon, and then we rinse and repeat. And I would say probably 90% of my items or more, I don't know the exact number, but I would say 90% of the items that we're buying now, Avery, they're all replens. So a replen, just for folks who are watching, maybe you're new, a replen is an item that you've sold before. So the items I'm buying now, I've sold before. I understand how long they take to sell. I understand what products maybe they don't rotate in the buy box, or what products have a higher chance of, maybe having like a bunch of people come on the listing because maybe they're known to have like liquidators or whatnot. I know what listings sell quick. I know what listings don't. And that's just, years and years of experience. So we have a massive replens list of, over 5,000 items. So 90% of the items we buy, we've sold them a ton of times before. We know they're safe. We haven't had IP issues. We haven't had complaints. We know the margins are good. We know they're, a bit under the radar. And that's pretty much how I run the business, man. VAs buy it, goes to a prep, goes to FBA, and then we rinse and repeat. And I'm really just kind of managing the operation and the P&L reports, and, dealing with any big issues, and training the team, always giving constant feedback, because no one's going to care about your business as much as you. And my VAs make mistakes all the time, but they're amazing. They're really good, but I have to be there to kind of guide them and fix any problems. If we, like, for example, recently there was an item my team kept buying, and I noticed it was like over a 20% return. It kept getting returned all the time. And it was just a product that it was in the electronic category. And I think customers just didn't know how to install it or whatnot. And it was just a problem. So
how did you catch that? Did you look at like a P&L or?
So if you go into your Amazon FBA, you can look at your return reports. Gotcha. And it'll tell you what items are getting returned the most. And it'll share like the different reasons and whatnot. So that's just like one small example of something that I have to manage. But I've actually put a system in place recently for someone on my team to kind of be on the lookout for that. So it's, it's a slow and steady progress, learning from these things.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, Avery, I wanted to show you like a sample day. This was actually, was it yesterday? No, that was the day before. So this wasn't yesterday. This was the day before. I want to show you kind of what it looks like on my E2A master sheet. This is how I track all my eBay to Amazon purchases. So 2 days ago, we spent $1,861, and you can see the condition of all these items. If it says open box, sometimes eBay sellers will put it as open box, but it's actually new sealed. So that's always a good tip to look at the pictures to make sure it's not actually an open box. But you can see the cost of what I paid for all the different items. So for this one right here, I paid $54.99. We're going to list it for $124.23. The tracking number automatically pulls in. So with this software right here, the E2A master sheet, it automatically pulls all this data in and automatically pulls the tracking number when it's updated, and tracks like if it was shipped, purchased, not delivered, so on and so forth. Here's where we track if it's in our planned inventory, received, so on and so forth, working with our prep center. You can see right here, Avery, can you tell me, so this is purchaser and sourcer. How many times do you see the name Steve here?
None.
So
you lazy SOB.
Yeah, and then we set our minimum and maximum prices and everything right here for when we list and do all the listings. But yeah, you can see the ROI for all the different items that we're purchasing. So on average, 2 days ago, our average ROI was 60%. And we have $1,172 in potential profit. So that's based on what we paid and the list price. So of course, it's not actual profit until it sells, but that's based upon if we sell it at our minimum price. So just want to give you guys a little insight to what it looks like for someone who's actually running an eBay to Amazon business.
Heck yeah, we appreciate that. And I think this is a super viable business model for like my audience. I think it's a great transition to online arbitrage. They're still selling media. They're still selling items that have similar data to media. Like even the electronic items, they sell about as fast as books. Like you're not dealing with, I mean, online arbitrage and wholesale are great. Like I'll probably make more content on that in the future. Like it's all about going in on a couple ASINs and spending 10, 20, 30K on like 2 or 3 ASINs. This is a lot different and it's much more transferable in my opinion. So you put something together for people, and we're going to give this to everyone who's either got a GoToLister an account already. So shout out my GoToLister fam. And if you're brand new and you don't know what GoToLister is, here's a quick little video that I created about the fastest listing software on the planet. Check it out. Attention Amazon FBA booksellers. I used to hate listing books on Amazon because of how long it took, but GoToLister has fixed that. GoToLister allows me to scan, label, and ship 100 plus books per hour. It's the fastest listing software that exists for Amazon sellers. Listing fast allows me to spend more time finding profitable inventory rather than listing all day. One of the best things about GoToLister is our intelligent pricing feature that automatically prices your faster selling items at higher prices. Click the link below to give GoToLister a free trial for 14 days. Dang, my arms have gotten a lot bigger since that video. I've been lifting those boxes of books. So, Steve, what you got for him?
Yeah, so I put together a list of 50 replens. Now, I'm going to give you an entire spreadsheet of 50 items that you can buy on eBay and sell on Amazon. Now, this is a complete replens list where I'm going to share with you literally the links that you can buy it on eBay. So you can go and check out all these different items. I give you a target price of what you should be looking to pay. Now, again, some of those target prices may change over time. So please do your own research. But this is something that's very, very valuable. And if you're looking to start, buying items from home without a software, maybe you don't want to spend $50 to $100 a month on a software to be able to do this. I put together this list. Again, it takes a little bit of legwork, but this list has made me thousands of dollars. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
And you guys need access to that. Just message us replens@support@gotolister.com. My team will send it over to you. If you guys don't have a GoToLister account already, go to gotolister.com, sign up for a free trial of the fastest listing software on the planet. And we also have profit analytics as well. So as you can see on this page here, we have 76,000 in sales on my Amazon account for the last 30 days. And we've paid a total of 30 grand profit between me, 30 grand buy cost. So this is how much we paid for the inventory. Amazon charged us 20K in fees. We're left with 25,000 profit. The difference between this and Seller Central doesn't tell you what your profit is, where GoToLister does. And since you're entering your buy cost in when you list products, it knows exactly what you paid for them. And you can also view on a per order basis. And so on this page here, you can see, a breakdown of per item, like how much you paid, what the order price was. So I sold this item for $98, sold it for $98. I paid $69, total 22 in fees. $6 profit. These margins are not nearly as good as Steve's eBay to Amazon. Let's see if we can find some better margins. $27 sales price. We paid $7 for this product. And you can see the breakdown of the fees is $390 FBA fees plus $419 referral fee for a total of $12 profit. So GoToLister really allows you to get some insight in your business, how it's going, and helps you list super fast. So much love, guys. Go to gotolister.com and be sure to follow Steve as well over at Rake and Profit. I'll link all of his YouTube channels and some videos below. Much love, guys.
Thanks.
Peace.